I actually did a yoga class for about like 3 months right there. So
That's so dope,
yeah,
bro.
it was legit, man. And I got to learn to sit with myself at that time.
Bro, someone will call me like, dog, I'm about to get into my yoga class. Huh? You know what I'm saying? Like yoga.
I'm gonna stretch out my knees real quick.
My boy, Crazy Boy.
What's up, little one? How you doing?
Good, man. Welcome to the telescope room.
Thank you for having me.
Dog, so the objective of the show is being victorious from despair.
Okay.
You know, I met you before. I've seen your journey. I admire your journey, you know, everything that you've been through, and you're still out here passionate with a smile on your face, living your life.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you allow me to excavate a little bit in your personal journey and share some things with me, you know, to give other people out there, you know, some hope that may be able to relate to some of the things that you've been through.
No doubt.
So first we'll start from the beginning, you know, then we'll go through your story.
Yeah.
All the way till right now. So it should be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So for those that don't know you, who is Crazy Boy?
Crazy Boy. My name is Daniel LaBatia.
All right.
So I'm a junior, you know. I'm a young dude from the 805 area, from Oceano, California, right near Santa Maria. That's where I was born at, you know what I mean? So
all right, that's where you were raised.
I was raised in that whole area.
Did you ever, like, when you were growing up, did you ever get out of that? Because, like, when I was growing up, I grew up in Sherman in Southeast San Diego. It probably took me like 18 years before I even left that vicinity. You know what I'm saying? I was just consumed in that bubble.
Correct.
Did you just like stay there, or would you like dip out to LA from time to time?
You know, here and there I would travel, but not as a youngster. You know what I mean? As a youngster,
when you got older on your own.
Yeah, when I got older on my own and started seeing life in a different way, then I would travel, you know what I mean, and do my own thing. But as a youngster, yes, I was trapped and confined to a bubble in my little area, and that was it. That's all I knew.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. So tell me about your childhood, dog. Like school, siblings, parents.
School. I mean, I went through school. You know, I got kicked out in 7th grade.
That was the first kick out.
That was the first kick out.
Straps.
Gang banging.
I didn't get to the strap part. Well, actually, I got a funny story. I got kicked out for the ice picks, but later on, maybe like 2 years later, the school security ended up buying rifles from me. Oh, shit. That's insane. But anyway, that's another show. That's another show.
You know, and you know, at that time when you're younger, you're trying to impress other people, or you're trying to impress a certain situation or a certain thing that's going on, or whatever the case may be. And bringing straps to school was stupid. I mean, that was dumb.
That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. Like, people don't, like, you know, a lot of things have happened throughout the world with dudes that, you know, come with straps, and there's been casualties. And again, me being a youngster too, in that situation, like, bro, we don't even have the awareness of the problems and the catastrophes that we can cause because of the state of mind that we're in.
Correct. You know? Traumatizing other kids. Other little
pulling it out. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
So what was the culture like at that time? Like, was there a lot of unity? Was it, you know, brown on brown? Like,
you know, back then in my area, there was more structure at that time, but the unity wasn't there. It was more, there was a lot of division at that time.
Okay. In the culture. Within
our area. All the little neighborhoods that are all around, always fighting each other.
Everybody was fighting each other.
Always gang banging on each other. You know what I mean?
Did that change in time?
It did. As we got older and started to see, you know, like
things different.
Yeah, or you got locked up with a dude, you know, or in juvenile hall.
You got to know him.
Yeah, like, I knew this guy from the hall, or I knew this guy from county jail. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it turned out to be better to have those friends in other areas. You know what I mean? You didn't always want those to be your enemies. You needed some other people.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy about what you just said is, you know, you end up in some kind of problem. You end up in jail. Mm-hmm. You end up making friends with people that you thought were a problem to you.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's crazy because I've heard that same story everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's crazy how the same cycle happens all over.
Everywhere.
You know what I'm saying?
It's everywhere. It's not just one little town.
Nah.
It's not one area. It's everywhere. We're all going through the same shit.
And that's why I think it's really important, dog, that we're here just talking about our culture, about the upbringing, because it takes people with consciousness and with passion and with purpose that have been through those things to shift the dynamic for the youth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we don't all have to be, savages.
No, yeah. And see, that's what I was talking with my boy on the way up here about paradigm. Shifting your paradigm to reprogram it. Yeah. Reprogram your paradigm, you know what I mean? And at that time when you're a youngster, you're not thinking about that.
No.
And your mind is pulling in, your intellect part of your mind is pulling in all of this information and all of these things, and you're programming your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And when your subconscious mind is programmed, it's just doing its own thing. It's running wild by itself. You know what I mean? And that's the reprogramming part, to shift that paradigm.
Well, we the thing too is that we really didn't have like authentic leaders.
Correct.
We had people that seem like leaders because of how many years they did, how many tattoos they got, but they're not leaders.
Yeah, I talk about that in one of my songs. It's like, older homies, instead of them showing you the ropes, they were showing you the dope.
Oh, that's good, bro.
They were showing you how to do lines and drink a beer.
How to pack up straps.
Correct. All that shit.
You know, here's a 40. Yeah. Here's some PCP.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of here's a book.
Yeah, shit.
You go that way or whatever the case may be, and it's so important that we talk about that, because we have eyes on us.
Yeah, all day.
Even if it's 100, 10, 8, 5, 4. If it's one person, bro, that can look at us and be like, wow, like, look at these dudes from different areas.
Correct.
Talking about the same thing. Yeah. Because we come from the same place.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that it's really important that we engage with the ability to shift the dynamic.
Correct.
Instead of like self-sabotage, it should be like self-love.
Yeah.
Self-destruction, it'd be like self-transformation, self-examination.
Yeah. You got to plant that seed somewhere, And
like when I was growing up, I was so into the music that the music was my distraction. Yeah. Like, even though like you walk out the house and like there's a jungle there, like I was like into the music, you know what I mean? And everyone would be like, what are you doing? Like that. Yeah. And I'd be like, you just watch, but I had something to attach myself to.
Correct.
Through the midst of the dysfunction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, bro, like growing up in the 80s was probably the best thing ever. At that time, music was pure. Mm-hmm. The culture was pure. Yeah. You had vinyl. Like it was just another formula. People made music with passion, bro.
Correct. Yeah.
It wasn't like, let me make songs for the radio.
Yeah.
It was just like, let me do what feels good. Shout out to Dominator, because he still does that.
Yeah.
Dominator still does that. Every time I go to his studio, every time I've been to his studio, like, that dude is a passionate, real artist and musician.
Correct.
Bro.
Yeah. And I think that's why me and him hit it off. We're from rival neighborhoods too. You know what I mean?
That's insane.
And we're like brothers.
Yeah. One of the things that we said off camera is that I thought was dope. Like, when I met you through him.
Yes.
And this was years ago.
Yeah. That was before my situation.
And for me to see you guys still tight like that is beautiful to me.
Yeah. We stick together, throughout it all. Other people have come and gone. And, and
that's what happens.
That's cool. But
you don't lose sight of it. There's an old saying that says that things that are real can never be threatened. Relationships that are real cannot be threatened.
Yeah.
Marriages that are real cannot be threatened.
Yep.
Anything that is real cannot be threatened.
Yeah.
It can only be threatened if there's some part of it that's not pure.
Yep.
Yeah. But tell me more about your childhood. So you get kicked out of school.
Get kicked out of school, man. I was trying to get back in.
What were your parents doing at this time?
At this time, my pops was in and out of prison. You know what I mean? So at a younger age, I want to say like late 80s, my pops was going in and out of prison.
In and out of prison.
Yeah, he's. It was for dumb shit too. Nothing crazy.
6 months, 8 months,
doing like 2 years, 2 years here and there. But he was always gone. You know what I mean? So
siblings.
I had 2 older sisters at that time.
Okay.
So at that time I had 2 older sisters, but we were all kind of just broken up, at that time, and bouncing around. my mom, I was with my mom, you know, for the majority of my life. And that was, she had it hard, you know, because we're rebellious kids at that time. And I mean, at 12 years old, I got caught up in a murder beef.
At 12?
At 12 years old.
Tell me about that.
So, I mean, we had a ditch school one day, me and a couple of homies sitting up in my room. My room was up on the second floor overlooking the street. I had a little thick area, probably about as thick as this table right here.
Right.
Where my window was at. So I could sit up in my window pretty good, you know, right there.
Right.
And always staring out the window, always looking out. And we seen a dude out there, and this guy was tripping out, yelling and, you know, talking all kinds of crap. And I was a little kid, you know what I mean? I went downstairs thinking I was all crazy and, you know, what's up, you know? And the dude got scared and he hit me right away, you know, I guess. He dropped me, knocked me out.
A grown man.
A grown man.
Hitting a 12-year-old.
Hitting a 12-year-old.
Wow.
So at the time, my stepdad, my stepdad, rest in peace, he's no longer with us. He passed away. But at that time, he seen what was going on. He heard the commotion, you know, and he took off. The dude took off running, I guess, you know, and I remember getting up, seeing the dude like way down there. My stepdad was going after him, you know, like, hey, get over here, you know.
Yeah.
Dude was big. He was a big dude.
Right.
My stepdad was by my size, a little bit smaller. Right. And
he was there to protect you.
Yeah. And they got into a fight. The dude I guess he was fucking up my stepdad inside the garage. Right. I didn't see that part. We didn't go down
It ended up bad.
It ended up bad. So after that, next thing we knew,
you're in handcuffs.
Cops were at the door, pulling us out. Dude was coming out on a stretcher, you know what I mean? And it blew my mind, you know what I mean? It was like...
That's a lot to take in at a young age.
At a young age, it does a lot to you, bro. It traumatizes you. It does a lot up here, you know what I mean? And it's hardcore. It's hardcore.
It stays with you.
It stays with you for the rest
Forever.
of your life.
It stays with you.
It never goes away, you know?
No matter what.
I mean, somebody lost their life out of it when they didn't have to. You know what I mean? It wasn't even that big of a deal.
It could have been handled differently.
Correct. It was a simple situation that could have been handled differently. You know,
that happens a lot.
Yes, it does all the time.
It happens a lot.
Myself, you know, I at that time I was, like I said, I was 12 years old, getting ready to turn 13. We did school, me and a couple of homies, two of my homies. So we all three got arrested for it. My stepdad was gone. He dipped out.
Right.
Later, they tracked him down. He turned himself in, you know.
Right.
They told him, we have your stepson and his two friends, you know. And so he turned himself in later.
Right.
And that was that. They let us go, you know. And then
did you end up incarcerated for a little bit?
No, they kept us for that whole day, you know, from early.
But imagine, I mean, I could only imagine at 12 years old to have something so huge, like
we were
put in your spirit.
We were handcuffed to chairs, you know, that whole day. They're talking crap to us, and you're going down, and this, you know, just pumping up your mind with all the bad shit. And it's like,
would you say that whole situation started a whole different, you know, path for you? Because it either makes you better or it makes you worse.
Yes.
It
did. It played a huge role in my path.
In your path after that.
Correct. And my path after that was bad. Bad. I had a lot of good times within that, but my path after that was bad. I didn't care, you know what I mean, about certain things. Isn't it a little scary how if we can reflect back when we were that young, it almost feels like we were emotionally numb. Yes. Yeah.
And people that are emotionally numb are dangerous, dog, because we don't feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I remember, like I'd be at the taco shop like at 3 a.m, 15 years old, and I'd just be like, I'm just waiting for someone to pull up on me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know?
Because my intentions were savage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to think, like you said at that time, that's somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's uncle, somebody's, you know what I'm saying? Father, whatever the case may be. But to think, you know, this is why these conversations are so important, bro. Yeah. Because see, your story is real.
Yeah.
Your story is true.
Yes, sir.
It comes from from a place that actually happened.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important that we speak about it.
Yeah.
And try to give somebody an example of how they can do things different.
Yes.
So your cycle of madness starts.
Yeah, it
You're
starts.
12,
you know, I start
juvenile hall.
I start dropping out of school. You know, so
education was last.
I was tweaking at that time.
Okay.
After that, I started tweaking. I started doing dope.
At 12 years old?
At 12 years old.
You were on drugs already?
I was already on crank.
Wow. So were your environment, your homies.
All over.
You guys were all on dope.
That's what the whole area was full of. It was full of crank. The old school. Crank. You know what I mean? The dirty shit.
The dirty shit.
And I was doing crank at that time, you know, as a little kid. And it blows my mind to think about it now, you know what I mean? It's like, damn, like, because I have children now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you said the magic word.
You know,
it's like my son is 13.
Yeah.
When I was 13, you know what I'm saying? So when I look at my son, he's an innocent little boy.
Exactly.
He has no idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if we can find a big screen and rewind the tapes of God and press play when we were 13 years old, it is completely the opposite of where our kids are at.
Yeah, you know, and that's what back then, you know, if you're not led down a good path or
back to the leaders,
given some type of structure,
somebody trying to help you,
you're figuring it out on your own.
And
you're only taking in what's coming from your environment.
It's a wild maze.
Exactly. It's all mayhem, you know. It's just like, you know, and I mean, at that time I started dropping out of school. I didn't care about school, you know what I mean? I was just like, whatever, like I didn't care about it, you know.
Did you ever have a counselor at school that cared about you?
At that time, no. At that time, no. I didn't, you know. So my principal at school, he would, you know, try to fight us and shit, you know what I mean? And
or take his jacket off and try to
come on, you want to try me, you know? Fucking, he was a big dude.
That's insane, you know, bro. The principal fighting with. I've never ever been able to understand when a grown ass man is willing to fight with a child, bro.
Like what the, you know?
I will beat someone's ass for that, even now. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing, bro? That's morally like inappropriate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's just wrong all the way around. You know what I mean? But that's like shit like that. You know, the leaders at that time, the people at that time, they weren't showing us the ropes. They were showing us dope. They were feeding us kids dope. You know what I mean? And showing us how to be a little fucking
destructive.
Correct.
How to end up in prison or dead.
Yeah. You want to go tag in this other town. You want to go do this. You want to go do that. And we were on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's go. You
want to expedite the casket?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's insane, bro.
So, I mean, at that time, you know, I started getting locked up as a little kid.
How old were you when you first went and you stayed?
I think I was 13.
So right after the other incident.
Directly after.
Right after that, it
was a few months later.
You're in juvenile hall now.
Yes, I'm in juvenile hall. They got me for truancy.
Truancy.
I went down to 7-Eleven one day, 7-Eleven a couple blocks down from my house. I was up for like 2 days already at this point.
This is crazy.
I walked
Seventh grade.
I walked down to 7-Eleven to go get me a big gulp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Grab some other shit and
Doritos with some chili in it.
I come back and I remember closing my garage. Like, why the fuck is my garage halfway open? Like, what the fuck, you know? And I'm staring at my garage as I'm walking up, drinking my soda. And then out of nowhere, the fucking garage comes flying up and all these probation officers and cops come out. And I'm like, oh shit, you know?
That's crazy,
what the fuck is this, you know? And they got me because I just failed to go to school. And at that time,
there was a whole team
of
probation officers putting people kids in jail.
Yes.
For not going to school. In jail. Throwing them in juvenile hall.
They told me I was a menace to society at that time.
Oh, wow.
They said, you're a menace to society. You know, you've been caught up in this murder beef, all this other stuff. Like, we don't want you on the street.
But you see, they were just attaching you to something, bro, that you really, in the end,
correct.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's it. Even after everything went through to court, my stepfather, you know, he started to do time or whatever, you know, and he got out from all of that. He did his time and he got out. He still was able to live a little bit of his life out here before he passed. But, you know, you're at that time, it's you're not given any chances or direction.
You're thrown to the wolves.
They're just like, here.
Another, menace.
Yeah.
Let's just put him where he belongs.
Yeah, and I remember going to court, like the first time going to court, and I was a little kid, and I got to see my mom, like I was like, oh man, it had been a while, like I think it was like a couple months since I had seen her. And I was like, oh man, I felt like, oh, there's my mom, like she's gonna take me out of here right now.
You know why, Doc? Because you were still young and you still needed her.
I was a little
Doc.
kid. I was a baby still.
Yeah, you were still a baby,
yeah,
bro.
You know what I mean?
Those feelings and that responsibility that it was left unattended, Doc.
Yeah.
But you know why, dog? A lot of those feelings are left unattended because the people responsible for attending to them, their feelings were unattended too.
Correct.
And it goes back and back and back.
Yeah.
So we have to break that cycle.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you go to court, you get out.
No, I go to court and they told me I was a menace to society. I had I'm sorry, you know what? This is that was the first time. First court was just a carryover. Second time I go to court. It had been 6 months at this time. I was already incarcerated for 6 months.
So you're clean.
Clean.
What's your mind like 6 months later after being arrested? Are you a different dude?
Yes and no. Yes, because I didn't know what was going on in the streets anymore.
No fear. Did you get visits?
I barely got any visits.
Letters?
Barely got any letters.
So a lot of time with yourself.
I got letters from an older homie at one point, which blew my mind. I still always remember that still to this day. He was one of the only ones that wrote me
sent you a letter
to talk to me and say, hey, do this, do that, love you, whatever, and that was deep at that time, you know what I mean?
Of course.
And I didn't even get letters from my mother at that time, or my family members, and shit. So it was,
that's trauma too,
all the way around, bro.
That's trauma too, bro, and that doesn't leave us.
No,
bro.
It doesn't, And my mom at that time was partying and doing her thing, and I was kind of like a bother or like a problem, like, damn, I gotta go to court for him, even though she never told me that, or like
there was parts of you that felt that way.
I felt that way, and then when I couldn't leave with my mother, I was shocked. I was blown away. Like,
not knowing what was gonna happen. When are you gonna get out?
Yeah. So
what's happening?
After the 6 months, they put me into it was called a 120-day program. Back at that time, it was in this little juvenile hall. So you had to like show that you could do good in this program right there in juvenile hall, and then they would let you out after 120 days. So
after being there 6 months already.
Correct. Got into it with the staff there after about 4 months, 5 months. One of the staff members tried telling me what to do when it wasn't my job. I told her, look at your list. That's the other dude's job. That's not my job today. She took it the wrong way, started getting crazy with me, and I don't know what happened. I grabbed a wet rag and I freaking threw it at her face.
Damn.
Told her, shut the fuck up, bitch, I can laugh about it now, what I mean? But at the time,
there's still a lot of rage in you, though.
I was full of rage. I was full of rage.
There's nothing but rage, bro.
I smacked her like dead on cold.
Well, they give you an assault.
They gave me an assault. They
extended your time.
We had a dude from New York. He was his name was Q. He was a staff member. He was a cool ass dude, man. He was a black dude, cool ass dude, and he always took care of us. You know what I mean? And he came in my room and he's like, Danny, look, I got to take you to juvenile hall, or you can walk right now. I'll give you a head start. You can run. You can go. And
escape.
Then we'll report you after about 24 hours that you're a missing person. He's like, what you want to do? You want a head start or what? I'll give you a couple bucks. What do you want to do?
In the middle of the desert.
I'm like, nah, like.
Take me to juvenile hall.
Just take me, let's go. Like, that's cool. Like, he's like, are you sure you don't want to run? Like, nah, I'm good, man. Just take me, like whatever, So that was that. The next day I woke up, they were there. They picked me up, take me to juvenile hall. They dropped me off. So I'm right back in juvenile hall again.
Damn.
Then these guys are like, I'm always in court at this time. Like, always in court.
They know you already.
Yeah, so they're just like.
You're in and out of juvie.
Yeah, so they're like, man, you're a fuck up, Everywhere they were sending me close to my area, it wasn't working out. So then they sent me down south. They sent me to Woodland Hills. There's a boys' home in Woodland Hills right there off of Serenia Avenue. And it's in a nice neighborhood, you know what I mean? A beautiful neighborhood. I was like, man, like they sent me here, It was cool. It was legit right there. I actually learned how to swim there. I learned how to play football. I learned a lot of things there. I learned how
which is good.
Yeah. I learned how to play pool.
You saw another aspect of life.
Correct. Yeah.
You were surrounded by people that were healthy, that actually wanted to do something for you and make you a better person.
For the most part, yeah. At that time, there was the majority of the people there, the staff members and all that. They were trying to rehabilitate you.
Dog, you said the key word. Like, they're either going to institutionalize you or rehabilitate you.
Yeah, some of them were all about that, like keeping you, you little fuck up, you ain't going to do nothing, But then the majority of the staff there, we actually got to do yoga there.
Oh, that's dope.
They had like a yoga class. You could sign up for it.
Yoga's underrated, bro. Like, people don't understand the power of that, bro.
No, they don't, So I actually did a yoga class for about like 3 months right there. So,
that's so dope, bro.
Yeah, it was legit, man. And I got to learn to sit with myself at that time.
Bro, someone will call me like, dog, I'm about to get into my yoga class. Huh? You know what I'm saying? Like, yoga.
I'm going to stretch out my knees real quick. Yeah, so I was already worn out at that time.
Well, yeah, bro.
I was worn out.
Back to back.
I was done. I was just like, man.
Do I want this?
Yeah, I would sit there at night times and
not only that, but you see the abandonment too, bro, from the people that are supposed to be close to us.
Yeah, so it was rough, man. My mom was doing bad. They didn't want to release me to my mom.
You're 15 now, 16?
Somewhere in there.
Okay.
This is before 16.
Okay.
This is before I was still 15. And they didn't want to release me to my mom. My dad was locked up.
So you had nobody to...
I had nobody. I only had my grandmother.
Oh, okay.
So they said, we can release you to your grandmother if she'll take you. And my grandmother at the time, I didn't understand, but she didn't understand what was going on with me. I was a completely different person than she knew as her little grandson.
Yeah.
Back when I lived at her house with my dad and everything, and as a little younger kid, So my grandmother said no. They asked me, to contact my grandmother. And so I would call her, like, okay, this is all we need to do. And she told me, she was going to get me out and come and sign for me. And then the day that it was, all right, I'm leaving.
She didn't show up.
Packed up all my shit. You know what I mean? I was ready to go. Fucking had my room ready to go, and freaking, they're like, hey, your grandmother, she came and she said she didn't want to take you. That she didn't feel comfortable taking you. I'm like, what? It blew my mind.
More abandonment.
Yes. It blew my mind because I had lived with my grandma for some time as a youngster.
It's a shock to you.
Yeah, and that was home to me.
Just like when you thought that things couldn't get worse, they got worse.
Piled on,
Piled on.
As a little kid.
This is crazy, bro. At 15 years old.
So I'm like pissed, blown, shedding tears in my cell, freaking crying and out of my mind, like, how the fuck am I gonna get out of here? So I remember asking this counselor, dude, what are you guys gonna do with me? He said, I don't know. We don't know what to do with you. Where are you guys gonna send me? What's gonna happen? Where's your dad? The guy would always ask me, where's your dad? My dad's in prison, like, when your dad gets out, then he could probably take you. That's what the guy would tell me. And I'm like, so I gotta wait until my dad gets out of prison? I didn't know when my dad was getting out or anything like that, you know what I mean? So it was always what's gonna happen? What's
you
going
were
on?
Just floating.
I was just floating.
You didn't know when you were gonna land, where you were gonna go, where your family was.
Yeah.
You were just on your own.
Just on my own. And so after about, I want to say I did another 2 months in there in that little juvenile hall. And then they released me to my mother again.
Right here is where the shift happened.
Yeah.
So what happened at that point, besides you being sick and tired of being incarcerated? What was the dynamic like? What changed? What did you attach yourself to? What did you get rid of? What did you dissolve? And how did your life change in another direction at this point?
I was getting ready to have my first son. So I was 16 years old.
About to be a dad.
Yeah, about to be a dad. I was lost, in life. But that brought me so much joy. I was happy. I was like, okay, I'm going to have a kid. You know what I mean? I was like, man, like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and I didn't process it at that time. Like, oh, I'm a young dude having a kid. I knew I was young having a kid, but it was like, bring it on, let's do this shit.
Yeah, you were ready.
I was ready.
Because you were ready. So when your son was born, were you 16 or 17?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah, I was 16 when he was born. I was just I was getting ready to turn 17. So he was born about a month or so before.
You turned 17.
Correct. Yeah, about a month or so before I turned 17.
And everything changed for you.
So everything changed for me at that point. I had already stopped doing the dope at that point.
You were done.
I was played out on it. When I got out and I went back to that motel, I remember I was just like, fuck, man, like, this is just horrible. You know what I mean? And I was done. I was done doing the dope already. I don't want to fuck with it no more. I was still getting high and drinking, and smoking bud and all that, but I was ready to change my life in a way. So I was still on probation at this time. My mother, where we live in that area, it's expensive. It's pricey as fuck out there. So that was why it was hard for my mother too all the time. She was always on welfare.
Struggle was real, yeah.
Always had it hard. There was the cost of living was completely different than what you were making,
Right.
And so my mom had no other options at that point. So she went back to her little hometown area, which was Bakersfield. That's where my grandfather lived. And that's where she had other people over there. She
take you guys in.
Yeah. So she got a place over there. She actually got a home. She got a house. And everything was good to go. It was like, okay, like we got this now. Like this, she was able to get a place and fucking big old house or whatever. So it was like, man, like, okay.
But start.
I didn't want to leave.
You didn't want to leave.
I was having a kid.
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't grab your girl and go with your mom.
No.
Your mom left.
Yeah. So and I told my mom, I'm going to stay with my girl,
Yeah.
So I
have our baby.
I had to lie to probation and yeah, I'm over here in Bakersfield, freaking whatever, and they were waiting to see if we were going to stay out there fully or not before they transferred my case completely over to Bakersfield. So I was still on probation in my normal area. I still stayed there in my normal area. They didn't know that, they thought I was in Bakersfield with my mother.
Did you, at any time right there when you were going through that situation, did you think like, I might end up getting caught up for this and not be around if my son is born?
Yeah, I was scared. I was nervous and shit. And, so I
did it end up working itself out?
I had to check in with my probation, like weekly, call them all the time and go do drug tests if I was in the area. Like, oh, when are you going to be in the area?
Come by.
Yeah, can we drug test you? So I would play the part like we had just came down from Bakersfield or whatever. Oh, yeah, like, I'll have
just
my
came
mom
to visit.
Yeah. But I was right there, you know what I mean? So I got caught slipping one day when I was checking in with my probation and I was like, yeah, I was talking like where I was at. In what city I was in.
Oh.
I'm like, fuck. My probation officer stayed quiet. I was like, look, we knew you've been there for a minute, we already knew. We just want to see if you were lying to us or not, But finally you came out and you told us, you got caught slipping, but you told us. So I'm like, shit, what do we do here,
Yeah.
I told him, look, I'm having a kid. Like, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I become on my own? I want to be emancipated. I want to be on my own. I'm working. I told him I have a job. I'm working at Carl's Jr. Like, I'm doing it right now. Like, how do I do this on my own? So they gave me the option to become emancipated, And so I was like, shit, they worked with me actually. I was honest with them and they were willing to work with me.
Right.
So I was like thankful for that, because I got to stay with my chick and my kid.
Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit, my son's born, everything. We start living life and then he's about a year old. My son's about a year old, a little over a year old. And then it was just not working out there where we were at with my lady's mom at the time. So we ended up moving with my mother back over in Bakersfield. We took off to Bakersfield with my son, went over there, and I started selling weed out there, and PCP. I was selling PCP.
Did you end up going back to jail?
No, not yet.
How?
Yeah. Right before I turned 18,
you went back.
I went to juvenile hall in Bakersfield. So they fucking came and raided my house one day, came knocking on the door. I worked with this lady. We did some painting under the table. This lady down the way, she was a gay lady. We worked together. She got me a job and shit, you know, with this painter under the table. We were doing all this work and shit. And one day, I went to go pick up my check, and the dude was like, "Oh no, I gave it to what's her name? What the fuck you give my check to her for?" She said that you owed her money. Like what? Yeah. Fucking owe her no money. What are you talking about? Something about her house getting robbed or some shit, you know? That you had something. What the fuck? You know, it was blowing my mind. I said, "You gave my check to somebody else. This is a check that you printed out from your company, dude. You know you're paying me under the table." I called labor board on this dude, right? Like, fucking, hey, like this, and that. So within fucking a few days, this dude was cutting me another check. And he was pissed, you know? He was super pissed because he's like, call your dogs off, man. Fucking this and that. I was pissed, you know? I was heated. So that chick was pissed because she had to pay back that check.
Right.
And she ended up dropping a dime on me. She freaking somehow they got an anonymous call. You know,
the famous anonymous call.
They got an anonymous call that there was a guy that was staying at that house that was on parole. So these dudes, the sheriffs come and knocking on my door and shit. And I had just smoked a big old blunt on my porch. I was fucking high as fuck. I was gone, like, you know. Yeah. I was lit. Fucking just smoked I was floating, you know. Barely walked inside, fucking looked at my son, looked at my chick and shit, you know, fucking like, I was like, I went to go get some water.
Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, you know, and then the fucking door, someone knocking on the door. Like, what the fuck is this? I just took my flannel off. Sitting down and I think my chick had put my flannel on or something. She was cold or something, and there was some blood in the pocket. And freaking the cops get there. They're knocking on the door. I open the door. I'm like, "Can I help you?" They're like, "Oh, we're looking for so-and-so." I'm like, "There ain't nobody by that name that live here. We got a parole search," and they just fucking pushed in. I'm like, "Nah, you guys can't come in. What the fuck?" You know what I mean? So I was trying to push them out, and they're like, forced their way in. They came in. I had a couple pounds of bud sitting in the room. I had some bud up in the attic. I had about like $300 worth of PCP, some joints that were already made out in the freezer.
Insane. That's crazy.
I'm tripping. I'm
with
like
foil.
I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm busted. I'm like, these fools they're in my pad, you know? So they're looking around my pad. They made us all sit down. They're looking for this guy that they're saying that's on parole. So they don't find no guy because he's not there.
It doesn't exist.
So I'm watching them as they come in. They went right from my room. They went right from my weed.
They knew exactly where
it was at. The only other one that knew exactly where my shit was at like that was my family and that other fucking bitch down the street.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck, man. Like, how did these guys know this? You know, at the time, I'm fucking tripping. Why are they going right for my shit? They took about $5,000 from me that I had in a little money bag. They were trying to seize our bank accounts at that time because we had some money in the bank accounts and shit. But they bust me. They locked me up. They took me and my chick.
You're 17.
Yes.
Where's your son?
He's sitting on the couch.
They take
with
him.
My little brother and some of my other siblings. You know, and luckily, like my mom was nowhere to be found at this time. She was fucking running the streets. I don't know where she was at. You know what I mean? I was like, please just show up. Please show up. Luckily, my mom shows up right before they were all done, you know, and wrapping it up because they were going to take
So they let your baby go with your mom.
Correct. They left him with my mom.
Close call.
Yeah, super close. Because they were going to take the other kids too, my little brothers and sisters and shit. And
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, so I was like, fuck, you know, and then they took me to juvenile hall. They took my lady. My lady had already turned 18. They took her straight to county. Yeah, so they were taking me to county at that time, and they pulled into county and shit, and I'm like, fuck we doing here, you know? Thinking in my head. They're like, oh, you know, you ever been here, you know, this one? I'm like, nah, I ain't never been no jail at all. Like, it was a whole different world, you know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, these dudes, I'm thinking in my head, these dudes don't know that I'm
underage. Yeah.
I told them, you guys know I'm 17, right? They fucking look at me like, what? Thought you were 18. nah, I'm 17, bro. They're like, son of a bitch, fucking pissed off. They were mad because they did all this paperwork already. You know what I mean? So they were fucking pissed, and they had to redo paperwork, and they were bitching at me and yelling at me about it. And I'm like, oh man, whatever, So they had to take me to the juvenile hall. They take me to the juvenile hall. I'm over there in this Bakersfield juvenile hall for a few weeks. My lady at the time, she took the rap for it. She took the whole heat.
So after that, tell me how your shift again went to how we know you now. How you became another dude. So now you're a parent. Now you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
You've been in and out of the system. You've been around dope. You've been around abandonment. You're aware of the fucking destruction and dysfunctional life. Fast forward to me, what happened and how it happened for you to take on another journey? Music had to be...
Music was always a piece of me.
Because we haven't even touched on that.
Yeah, music was always a piece of me. So, I started rapping at a young age, around that same time when I got busted in the very beginning. I think I started rapping around like 11 or 12 or something like that, 13, somewhere in there. But music was always a piece of me. I just was never able to take it serious like I wanted to.
You had too much shit going on.
Always too much shit going on. I don't even think I was able to record a track at that point. You know what I mean? Fucking like legitimately like. And
you leave Bakers.
I leave Bakers. Like, I don't want my son to grow up in this shit. I leave Bakersfield. We made arrangements to come back over to the coast. We call it the coast. From Bakers, went back to the coast to go live with my chick's mom again, and there was a program, like some housing programs and shit some new shit that was going on in our area that, okay, like we could do this, So we were able to get a little place and shit, So it was like, cool, I got a job. Her brother hooked me up with a job.
Yeah.
Everything was changing, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, so like we're doing good. We're doing decent, you know what I mean? And then the alcohol, I mean, I was doing music at that time, but not really serious, like I said, And the alcohol and the partying and all that shit and getting high, like that was all still a part of my life, and not doing dope. I wasn't doing no dope no more.
But people don't understand, like alcoholism is just as destructive as dope.
Yeah, it is.
And like alcoholism like consumed a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like it's just as destructive as dope.
Just as destructive.
So you're still partying, you're a father, you have 2 kids, you left Bakers. You already been in the system a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
Something had to happen to put you in the path to this man you are now.
Well, I went through a lot more shit after that. I ended up splitting up with my lady at that time that I had my 2 sons with, and got into a whole new relationship. Drama all in between, you know what I mean? All this fucking craziness and freaking hood drama and all this madness. And I ended up having a daughter, out of that.
Okay.
So that was drama for like 5 years of my life, 5.5 years of my life.
So the same repetitive cycle.
Same repetitive shit. I just wasn't doing dope.
Yeah. But you were drinking and partying.
Yeah, and it was still like I never had caught a break at this point. It was like, fuck, man. Like,
but you have to. See, here's the way I see it, because I used to say that too. But dog, we're not ready for that break.
No, yeah.
We can't even embrace that break.
Nope. Yeah.
Because we're broken.
Yeah.
We're not even ready for the blessing.
Nope. Yeah.
Because all we're doing is poisoning ourselves over and over and over. Like you said, you go from you have kids with one person, then you have kids with another person, and all it really is just somebody else with a different name and a different face, but it's the same shit.
Yeah, same shit. You know what I mean? Same shit, fucking a little more drama on that.
Yeah, more drama. So 5 years go by, more of that.
Yeah, so
then what?
Another 5 years of my life go through. And then I left her.
You left her. Okay. 3 kids.
Due to alcohol.
I
didn't drink at that time. When I left her, I had stopped drinking. I got a DUI when I turned 21. I was pissed off, you know what I mean? I was fucking mad. I caught a DUI. I had to pay all kinds of money, you know what I mean? So I just chose to stop drinking, at that point. It wasn't a part of my life. But this lady I was with, this chick I was with, that was big. That was her life. You know, she wanted to party all the time. She wanted to drink, and it wasn't like.
It wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, no, it wasn't fun. It was drinking to fucking be belligerent.
It was a problem.
It was a major problem. You know what I mean? Trying to fight me all the time and shit. You know,
end up back in jail.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Fucking, I'm good. You know, it was easy to leave. So back when I was a youngster, I had a chick back then as a little kid.
You reunited with her.
I reunited with her.
The one that used to write you letters.
Yes, we spent 12 years apart.
And then linked up.
We linked up again as adults. She had a family. She created a family. She moved away and she had some kids. And same thing with me. You know what I mean? And her life was a lot more better than mine. She was more structured. Correct. She was way more structured. You know, so we linked up again after 12 years, and it was easy for me to walk. It was easy for me to leave the relationship that I was in because of the alcohol and all the bad shit. You know what I mean? And I was into my music at this point. You know what I mean? At this point, I was full on into my music and fucking still dealing with everything else. But so I left. And at that point when I left, I broke down. I felt like, shit, this is it. I'm already getting older. I need to change my life. I need to do something. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know,
it's real life.
Yeah. Like, and it was like, I was so willing to leave everything that I created right here. And I was like, fuck, you know, I have to do this, you know? And it was hard for me as a man, as a person. It was hard for me to accept that was my road. But I did it. I took off. I knew that I had to. I knew I had to change at that point. So at that point, I left. I took off, and then it was just fucking drama. All fucking from every angle from my ex, you know, starting shit every day, all this and that. It was just drama, you know what I mean? Bad drama. My daughter was about 3 years old at that time. It was hard, you know what I mean? Because I didn't, all this shit that I'm going through this whole time, I still had 2 sons.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving them the attention that I should have been giving them as a father.
Yeah.
Growing up.
But you didn't know how, though.
I didn't know how.
You were just bottled up with so much stuff of your own.
Yeah.
How can you possibly?
I always included my children.
Yeah. I was the same way.
Yeah.
Like I was a young father, 17 years old. Like my daughter was with me.
Yeah.
But I'd be at the house drinking Alizé all day. You're hungry? Let me order some pizza. That was it. There was no, nurturing father there.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Like my oldest daughter got the short end of the stick.
Yep.
Because when I started shifting my life, like when Dominator asked me, how long you been in this? Yeah, these past several years has been the advanced part of my life.
Correct.
But it was always a journey.
Yes.
I was always little by little.
The journey.
Going this way. So when I had my other kids, I was already a different person.
Yeah.
A different person. But like when I took this shift, I eliminated anything, anyone, everyone that was a negative or a threat to my life.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do, And, at that point, when I left, and it was, drama, bullshit. I had to go live with my sister, stay with my sister, and then my lady at that time, or my lady now, when we got together right there, she left her relationship.
Be with you.
She just bought a house, with her husband at the time. They had a nice little family. I felt bad because I broke up a nice little family.
Well, no. I mean, if she was, there had to be something going on there.
I didn't know at the time.
In order for her to walk away, there had to be something that was missing. You know what I'm saying?
And I didn't know she was unhappy. I didn't know all the shit that was going on over there. I didn't know all that was going on at that time. But I left, and immediately she got pregnant. So here comes.
So now you're gonna have your 4th child.
Yes. So I have a 4th child, and that 4th child, she's now 13 years old.
Okay.
I'm still with this lady, still with my same lady. We went through our struggles, and
everybody does.
We did the cheating and we got back into dope at an older age.
Oh wow.
So it was backwards. It was flipped. But luckily, she was able to pull away from that before I was. So I got locked up again
As an adult now.
as an adult.
With 4 kids.
4 kids. So
How long were you away?
I wasn't away that long. I was getting locked up on petty bullshit. You know?
Now, was that a different type of awareness from you at that time? Like, did you say to yourself, like, I'm too old for this shit?
I remember going to county.
And this time it's your kids in the back.
Yeah.
Now your mom.
Yeah. And it's
Looking
like,
at you.
son of a bitch, you know.
Like, I'm back.
What the fuck am I doing, you know? And I fucking lay down on the bunk, you know, and staring at all these fucking 68 other dudes in there or whatever the fuck it was. And I'm like, this is fucked up. I don't want to be in here. I don't like being locked up. I don't like my freedom being taken. Did all that fucking time as a youngster. I didn't like that shit. So I was like, man, I need to bail out of this motherfucker, you know? So I bailed out. Fucking got out, got locked up again, fucking 3 weeks later. You know what I mean? Like,
But that's what you see, this is what I'm saying. Like, for people that are listening, it's like we get what we want.
Yeah.
We get our freedom.
yeah,
And then we take it for granted again.
correct, exactly.
Over and over
Yes.
and over again.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, get me out of this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you remember that song, I'm sorry that I did. Dear God, forgive me for my sins. I've been tripping. I made promises to you about my drinking, right?
What album?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But the point is that my daughter Angelina, which is 17 now,
Okay.
was about to be born.
Uh-huh.
I got a DUI. Dog, she's about to be born. I'm like, man, get me out of this, dude. Like,
Yeah.
let me get out and let me see
Yeah.
her. I don't want to miss her birth.
Yeah.
Right? I get out. I go right back.
Yeah. You take it for
Breaking my
granted.
DUI class. I got to see her born.
Yeah.
So he gave me what I wanted.
Uh-huh.
But then I'm not going to my DUI classes. I'm at the bar.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, and that's
it was just a long process, dog. Like, look, it takes courage, bro, to walk away.
yeah.
Because whether we like it or not, or want to admit it or not, we decorate our dysfunction.
Yes.
And the dysfunction just becomes home.
Yeah.
Freedom and another world of liberation can be right there.
Yeah.
We won't go because
No,
we
yeah.
don't know what that is like.
Yeah. You fucking walk right past it like,
Like,
oh.
hey, I'm good. I'm good right here.
Back
Like,
there.
like I'm good right here.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so that's all, you know, that's what we all do.
Yeah, but dog, okay, so let's
now-
fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, now I'm you know, I got locked up a few times. Me and my lady went through some fucking first four years of our life were negative and bad. There's a lot of bullshit, you know what I mean, that we were dealing with. And
You have to remember another thing too, because this is about mental health and awareness. And all due reality, you weren't ready for a relationship,
Yeah.
and neither was she.
correct.
You guys were just looking for some kind of
Escape.
escape.
Yeah.
You know
we
what
were
I'm
both
saying?
looking for an escape, and then boom.
And then, but dog, internally, neither one of you were healed.
no, we weren't.
So you get two broken people
Yeah.
looking for an escape.
Yeah.
Guess what happens? The exact same things
The exact same
that were
cycle.
happening before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now-
4
now-
years of
yeah.
another.
So luckily, I didn't get, you know, I never went to prison. I've only went as far as county, and I'm
Right.
thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Thankful for that all the time because I don't like being locked up. I don't like that shit. But so you know, me and my lady, we went through all kinds of bullshit. You know what I mean? Up and down, and then now we bought it. We got a home. We just bought a home recently, a couple months ago.
But you've been clean now.
I've been clean. Yeah,
You've been clean.
I've been clean for.
You're
for
a
minute.
different person.
Yeah.
You know, because the objective of this is that you were victorious from the
Yeah.
fucking. We need to make a movie out of that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I always think about that shit.
Yeah,
bro.
we need to make a movie out of that.
Let's
bro.
get
12
it.
years
Director,
old.
Mr. Little One.
Yeah, for sure, bro. There needs to be a documentary of your life.
Yeah, so you know, and with my lady now, we got into this, that, whatever, and as on our journey here, I developed cancer. I got cancer, you know.
How long ago?
Cancer was about we're here at 21 right now. Cancer was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
So that fucking
Okay, doc. So now let's talk about that. So now, bro, you go through all this despair while you're not sick.
correct.
Okay? Because we take our health for granted too.
Yes.
You know, health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
And, you know, you come out of that. You change your life around. You guys get a new environment. You're responsible parents.
Yeah.
You're clean.
Yep.
You're adapting to a brand new way of life that is healthy and productive, and you're being good examples to your children.
Correct. I'm working.
You're
happy.
working. You're feeding your purpose. You're chilling. That's behind you, and then you find out you have cancer.
Then I get cancer.
How did you find out?
I drove a forklift at work. I'm always turning around, looking backwards like this. Always turning around, So that's my fucking honking and shit, backing up. So I started developing a pain in my neck. It's like, fuck, man. I would tell my boss, hey, I need to go home, man. My boss started getting pissed off at me because I kept going home. Fucking couple little minutes early on my shift or whatever. It's slow, let me go home. I don't feel good, this and that. And he thought I was lying. So I took my son to the doctor for some stomach problems he was having one day. I was like, okay, this is my opportunity. I was scared, as a man, I was scared. I fucking Googled all this shit. Like, what is this pain from? And everything was telling me cancer, 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 cancer. And I was scared. I didn't want to go to the doctor. So I put it off for like 6 months after I already had a fucking ball growing right here on my neck. Something was going on inside, I just didn't know. I thought, when you get tonsillitis or your tonsils swell up and shit, that's what I thought was going on. But my shit never went down. It
was getting worse.
It was getting worse.
You learned how to live with it for 6 months.
Correct. And I still smoked cigarettes at this time.
Oh my God, bro.
So my boss would always tell me, that shit's gonna fucking kill you one day, come fucking tell me, put that shit out, and I would always think about that, these last few months, right before I knew I had cancer, that was always on my mind. So then I get cancer, or I go to the doctor with my son. That was my opportunity. I seen the doctor after she was done telling my son and diagnosing my son with his little sickness that he had.
You said, hey, check me out.
I said, hey, do you know, look at this right here. Do you know what this is? And she like kind of, the way she looked at it, she
very concerned.
Yeah. She said, I don't know what that is. I couldn't tell you, but I do have somebody that can tell you. So she gave me a number for an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I put it off for another 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I was scared and nervous. I didn't really tell my lady or nobody at this time what was going on. I was scared. So 2 weeks go down. I'm like, fuck it, dude. My boss is pissed off at me because I kept calling in sick. So I had to call a doctor to figure out a doctor note or something, So I called the ENT, go in. Within 2 days, they did the biopsy that first day. That doctor, he looked at me and he said he'd been doing this for 20, 30 years. And he said, I'm going to tell you straight out, you got cancer. He said, from looking at what you have, you most likely have cancer. My heart dropped, my life.
I was going to tell you, what did it make you feel?
Fucking somebody threw a fucking ton of bricks on me. I sat back and...
You thought death immediately.
Death. I'm done. I'm dead. What about my kids? What about my children? Oh my gosh, what am I going to tell my kids? I haven't even got the opportunity to do what I wanted to do with my kids or teach them things.
I wasted a lot of years.
Fuck, Crying, right? Immediately I start crying like, what the fuck? I'm going to die. And then it was crazy, And then the doctor 2 days later, they confirmed it. They said, yes, you have stage 4 neck cancer.
Oh, wow.
You got 2 tumors in you. You have one inside your throat and one that's protruding out and growing. It's doing its own thing. It was metastasizing is what they call it. So the cells were splitting and they were taking out to another part of my body to grow another piece.
Grow some more.
So it was.
If you wouldn't have went to the doctor, you would have been dead.
Correct.
Already.
At that time when I went to the doctor.
Stage 4.
I was put there for reasons unknown to me at the time, but I honestly believe it was God, the universe, that was directing me. Hey, this is your fucking cutoff right here. You know what I mean? So I got there. I get to a doctor. Stage 4 neck cancer, and they're like treating me completely different at this point. Like, we got to get you in a treatment right away,
immediately.
And I was like, oh, I'll put it off for another month or something. Like, no.
You were still on that.
Yeah, they're like, no, you need to get into treatment right away.
Or you're going to die.
Yeah, like you need to get into treatment, And I'm like, fucking.
And I'm sure your wife is telling you, like, dude, you got to go.
Yeah, at this time, I took it super serious. I'm like, fuck, And then I broke down. I was sharing this with Dominator, on the way over here. I broke down that one day, that first Friday that I knew I had cancer. I cried. I bawled like a little baby. I didn't want my family or nobody to hear me. They were out in the living room and shit, and we had all kind of knew that I just got cancer. Everybody was gathering and talking to my daughters and shit, And I'm like, fucking, I got up. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't control it.
Yeah.
I got up. I went to the bathroom. I fucking bawled. I started crying. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, this is it, I'm going to fucking fight this shit.
Yeah.
You're a fighter. You're not gonna fucking quit. I'm gonna beat this cancer. And I was looking at the ball right here. You know, I don't know if you could see the scar right there.
Yeah.
Little scar.
Yeah.
That's all I got left from it. So I'm like looking at the ball right here, pushing out. And I'm like, I'm gonna take this ball away. This ball is gonna go away, and I'm gonna fucking fight this, and I'm gonna beat this cancer. They gave me a 20% chance, which was high, super high. So I
80 to beat it.
correct.
Okay.
I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. They said it's very treatable. What you have is very treatable, but it is very, very rare, and it can kill you. It's very deadly. So we can't fuck around with it. We got to get you.
Let's get on the treatment.
They wanted to cut me. My neck ain't too big. Even at that point, I was about 100 pounds heavier than I am now. They wanted to cut my neck open. I said, what's going to happen? They said, we're going to, your vocal cords might be messed with. And I said, no. I said, I do music, bro. Like, I can't do that, like, I still need to finish some shit in my music.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to be possible. What's my other option? Radiation and chemotherapy. So I went for the radiation and chemotherapy. I did a 7-week treatment simultaneously every day. Fucking drove myself to each appointment, you know what I mean? And fucking.
I saw my mom go through that.
It's crazy, bro.
It was crazy.
I got roasted on the inside and out. After 4 weeks of doing radiation, the first few weeks, I was like, this ain't shit. I could do this. They put me on a table, lift you up, and this machine goes around you and it blasts radiation silently into you, and you don't even see or hear nothing other than the machine. So I'm like, I got this. I would tell my lady, I got this. This ain't shit. I'm gonna get through this. This is good. You know what I mean? We're good. But after week 4, I was burned on the inside and outside. I couldn't eat no more. I couldn't eat no food. I couldn't swallow. I was
the suffering
roasted.
started.
The suffering started. I was roasted, like.
And I'm sure that, guess who you're with when you're in time of despair with your thoughts,
Yeah, exactly. So I would sit there about, I want to say it was like 4 or 5 hours a day at the time, getting the IVs of this poison called cisplatin. It was a chemotherapy, and basically what that does is the chemo medicine traps the cancer, and then the radiation shoots it and it kills it.
Yeah.
And I got that far, and I told myself I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna get through this shit. So I did.
How long did it take?
It took me the 7 weeks to get through, and I beat the cancer right then and there. I'm still in rehab right now from the physical effects that I had on my body.
From the aftermath of it.
Correct.
You're still recovering from that.
I'm still recovering. I have not gone back to work since then. You know what I mean? So.
But you beat cancer.
I beat cancer. I think I have 1 or 2 more scans to do, like, spread out within a year or 2. And after that, they'll tell me, you don't have to come and get scanned no more.
Let me tell you something from an outsider. Of course, I have a lot of respect for you.
Likewise.
But without knowing the other World War III jungle stuff that you went through.
Yeah.
And to see you fighting this sickness, bro.
Yeah.
And to see you with a smile on your face, and to see you shooting videos.
Yep.
To see you posting positive stuff.
Yeah.
I admire you, bro.
Thank you.
You went through a whole lot at a very, very young age. Yeah. And you're still here standing.
I'm still here, and that's a testament all in its own. And it's crazy, because throughout all this craziness, I was never unaware of God. Right. Never. I was never unaware of it. My aunt is very, very huge on church, and my uncle over in Arizona. So they were always instilling that on us and always trying to push that on us. And I spent a little bit of time with my aunt. I got to go to church. I was familiar with it. So God was sitting there 4 or 5 hours a day, like praying and just talking and thinking and talking to God. And I developed a crazy anxiety at that time because I wanted to hurry up and finish what I was going through. And I started going to church. Okay, I'm going to go to church. My sister invited me to church, and I never stopped. You know what I mean? I kept my life the way it is.
You're still going to church?
I still go to church. I still go to church now. I talk to the elders at church, you know what I mean? And I talk to some people you wouldn't think I talk to.
I mean, you have to remember, bro, your testimony is huge.
Correct.
Your testimony is huge. Bro.
Yeah.
I mean, just your life story. Like, I wish we had more time.
No doubt.
To be able to go through all of it. But what you were able to share here,
yeah,
that's huge. It's a movie in itself, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, for you to be able to beat it.
Yeah.
And but here's the kicker though. Look at all the other things that you beat. And you kept going back to it.
Yeah.
Like you remained humble.
Yeah.
You remain grateful.
Correct.
You remain close to God.
Yeah.
You remain close to your family.
Yep.
You remain close with people that love you.
Yeah.
You remain close to your passion.
Yes.
That's the victory.
Yeah, you know, and that's that. Like, if I could tell anybody anything right now, like, and give anybody like some type of advice, it would be to not give up on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't give up on yourself, because
when everybody else gives up on you, it's more important to not give up on yourself.
Exactly.
Especially when we're alone, because half the time we think we're thinking, we're really listening to the destructive thoughts, dog.
Yeah, and you're imprinting your mind with the bullshit that shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? We're not taught to open up your mind to a different way of thinking at a younger age, you know, and you kind of have to go through your journey. You know, some people have to go through their journey in order to figure that out. And now I'm figuring that out. Now, like, these positive shit that you see me posting and all that, that's all come within this last few years. And because of the cancer, of course, but also because of everything else I went through.
Of course. I mean, in a sense, without taking away from the actual cancer.
Yeah.
That journey and that upbringing is a cancer within itself.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
It is.
It deteriorates you.
Yeah, it breaks
slowly, bro. You know, like my story when I was a kid was similar.
Yeah.
You know, and for me to be able to look back and reflect of who I am now, because, bro, I listened to some of my albums and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
wasted days and wasted nights.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, bro, like, sometimes I get disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
You know why? Because that wasn't me at my best.
Yeah.
That was a wounded version of me in the studio.
Yeah.
So when people tell me you're a legend, dog, that album's a classic, I'm like, dog.
Yeah.
I was like at 30%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always say, like, I don't even like those albums because I knew where I was as a person.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, aside from that, bro, you were victorious and you remain victorious.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And bro, I can't thank you enough, dog, for coming in here and sharing that story, bro. Like,
no doubt.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing all the things that you went through. You were truly a, you know, jailhouse vet at 16 years old.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me know whenever you want to do part 2. We'll come back and talk about my
we
music
got to
journey.
do part 2. we got to put that on the books. We got to come back and we got to do part 2 for sure.
We got to talk about my music. You know what I mean? That's a big part of my life. But
let's talk about it right now before we say goodbye. Yeah. Tell me what's up with your music.
Right now, I mean, I'm signed to, I'm a criminal artist. I'm Mr. Criminal's artist.
What up, Criminal?
What up, Criminal? I'm on Crime Family Entertainment. You know what I mean? I also have my own shit, Blu-ray Music. I've been with Dominator since '98, you know what I mean? We've been clicked up, so that's my brother. We always do music together, and we always stay within a circle. But right now, I'm working on another album. I just recently got hit with some new medical news a couple weeks ago. That was another hit, another setback. So my setbacks haven't stopped. You know what I mean? So recently, I just got diagnosed with emphysema. It's mild. It's up here on the top, so it's controllable right now. But I just recently stopped smoking marijuana and all that, you know what I mean? So I stopped smoking cigarettes already right when the cancer started and all that. So now I'm on another journey. Now I'm on another challenge.
Now you're on another journey.
So
but you're a better version of yourself.
I'm a better version, and I'm ready to take on whatever, you know? So my music, I had put it off to the side for a few weeks and a couple months, and now I'm right back into it, you know, continuing out where I left off, and I'm working on my next album. I believe this will be the 4th project that I'm doing for Criminal. So that's where I'm at. I'm getting ready to put out another project.
If I was you, bro, I would just reflect on everything you said right now, bro. You can make a double album in 2 days in the studio with this guy.
You know what's a trip? I've never, ever had this conversation before.
That's crazy.
I'm this deep into it.
I'm so honored, bro, that you had it with me. And let me just say something just from an outsider real quick about putting the music to the side.
Yeah.
Because my full focus right now is my podcast.
Yeah.
But never forget, you will forever be an artist.
Yeah.
Music has no age.
Yep. Yeah.
Ever, bro.
Yeah.
We can go in the studio at any time, whether it's right now or when we're 70. Yep. And we can create the same thing we did when we were 20.
Correct.
Because we are art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So don't ever feel like you're putting anything to the side.
Yeah. Nah.
You are walking art.
Yeah, like
you know what I'm saying?
like
I'm walking art. Dominator's walking art. And that's never going to change. This man makes music, bro, that was pure and passionate right now.
Yeah. Yes.
And he's been able to collaborate with people that he grew up admiring.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's huge.
You know, salute to you. Salute to your journey.
Thank you.
Salute to your courageous battle.
Yeah.
You know, bro, again, it's an honor for me to have you here, bro.
Yeah,
and
it's
to
an
be
honor
able
for
to
me
hear
to be
your
here,
story,
brother, man. And this right here is I don't know if you guys can see this book right here.
Power of Now.
The Power of Now.
You know,
this is an excellent gift, man.
Hey, bro.
I'm super thankful for this. I really appreciate that.
Bro, it's my absolute pleasure, bro. The reason why I have this platform and why I want to continue to do this is because, you know, even though I'm on my journey and my journey has no destination.
Correct.
I wake up every single day to try to be the best version of myself and not live as a limited version of myself.
Yeah.
And this book, The Power of Now, really taught me how to live in the moment, in the present moment, and not get consumed in psychological time.
Yeah.
And psychological time, dog, is everything we've been through.
Yes.
And everything that we've been through captures us, puts us in a psychological cell, and we rot.
Yeah.
So this teaches you how to liberate ourselves.
And that's what's up, man.
So thank you, my bro.
Thank you,
Respect
brother.
to you, bro,
Respect
and your
to you.
journey, broski.
For sure.
I'm always here if you need anything, and you got to leave me a 16 on your project, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, for sure.
All right, for sure.
Gotcha.
Respect.
All right, brother.